We're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard. Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. And I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So, as you know, Kamala Harris did not win the election. Kamala Harris did not win the election. Kamala Harris did not win the election.
You're a donut! You're so stupid! You're so stupid! You're stupid!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Vary. That's Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And that's why you should never trust anybody who looks like they comb their hair with a balloon. That's Dr. Arlene. We'll never get enough of that video, will we? That will live forever. So let's talk about why the Democrats like Dr. Arlene, the media, still don't get it. They don't get it why Donald Trump won as convincingly as he did, why so many Democrats voted for Donald Trump in this election, so many of their factions splintered away from them in this election to vote for Donald Trump. And we'll hear from Marc Andreessen, Silicon Valley legend, with Joe Rogan. And Marc Andreessen himself used to be a Democrat. He voted for Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, go down the line. But Marc Andreessen is now full MAGA. He's actually been at Mar-a-Lago recently trying to advise Donald Trump on certain things going forward, I guess, with crypto, because Marc Andreessen's a big crypto guy. But without any further ado, let's get into this interview with Joe Rogan and Marc Andreessen. We'll comment along the way. Let's go.
How fearful were you leading up to the election that it wouldn't go into the new timeline?
It was so weird because all the experts said it was 50-50, razor sharp, it's this tiny little, thing, 80,000 votes in 8 counties. And then number one, then it wasn't, which means we can take all those experts and just dismiss them forever going forward because they clearly have no clue. So that's another set of people we don't have to listen to. But I had this really interesting conversation that kept nagging at me with a senior Democrat who's on his way out of politics. And he said in the summer, I said, how certain is, or what's your view? And this person said, Trump's going to win with 100% certainty.
Really?
This is a Democrat, and from a sort of purple state, right? So, not New York or California, but like a state with, sort of maybe
Arizona,
broader cross section of people. And this person basically said, look, all you have to do is fly anywhere in the country into any purple place and go into a second or third tier, size city and take an Uber for 30 minutes. Land at the airport, take an Uber, drive around for 30 minutes, come back, and just ask the driver, like, how's it going? Who are they voting for? And basically, 100% of the time, the answer is going to be Trump.
That's the thing. Democrats are in a bubble. They're in this media bubble in all the major metropolitan areas. Many of them don't know anybody who even owns a pickup truck. That's true. They don't know anyone who owns a pickup truck. They're in a bubble. They don't get out. They don't talk to people. And this is why it's just an echo chamber. And they just don't get it. They're still doing it. Let them keep doing it.
Because people were just like completely fed up. They were just completely fed up. And then there was the, Kamala enthusiasm, which this person said, the Kamala enthusiasm is like highly focused in New York and California, which
Bingo.
don't matter.
Bingo.
Bingo.
So they're not going to decide anything.
But matters huge when it comes to media.
Oh, sure, of course. But that's the thing, the self-reinforcing nature of the bubble. And this is what's actually so interesting with these media bubbles is like the people in these media bubbles are not breaking out. Like it's like they're getting deeper into the sort of collective psychosis that they
they're digging in their heels. They just don't want to accept the truth.
And part of it was getting excited about a candidate for which there was very little popular support for once you got outside of these, heavily blue states.
Yeah.
And so it is, in a lot of ways, it's the most, obvious explanation in the world, which is just people just fundamentally did not like the direction the country was going in, and they were just fed up with it.
And Kamala Harris was an awful candidate. The whole, I said in so many videos before while the campaign was going on, I said, this is AstroTurf, completely fake. There's nothing organic or grassroots about this at all.
There's also this very bizarre arrogance of people that were certain that Kamala Harris was going to win. Like, I'm sure you've seen the viral video of this lady who's a political analyst who talks about going to the liquor store and buying a bottle of champagne.
Dr. Arlene.
Oh, right. I saw that. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
I don't want to show it to the poor lady. She's probably living in hell right now. But
on Blue Sky.
Yeah, she's probably on Blue Sky. She might be on X. Well, she was on X. I think she deleted her profile. Yes. But the poor lady.
Oh, by the way, quick side note. Keith Olbermann apparently is leaving X. I'm so sorry to hear that, aren't you guys? I mean, X will never be the same now, will it?
Lady, I mean, she was being very arrogant, and she laughed and mocked this man and said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right?
You realize you wasted your vote, right?
That's right.
And she laughed, which makes her hard to feel sorry for. It's like you were ready to mock this man.
Yes.
But in her eyes, it was all about reproductive freedom. And she thought that was under attack under the Trump administration, and that women are going to stand up and they're going to stop that, because in her echo chamber, that was the case. Yeah.
Right. And I've said this before about that whole issue, which I really can't say the word on YouTube, but that issue is gone now. That issue, the luster has been taken off because Donald Trump has made it a tolerable issue for Republicans to deal with at this point. Giving that right back to the states. Enough people now realize that it's not as bad as they all thought. There is going to be no ban. There's going to be no national anything when it comes to that issue. And the bubble that Joe Rogan's talking about there, yes, you have certain people that will die on that hill. Then they will continue to do so forever. They will continually die on the hill of that issue. And let them. That's their right. They have every right to do so. But a huge mistake. And most of the time, if you do that, if you're a single issue person, I don't care what the single issue is, if that's what drives your political compass, you're in a lot of cases going to vote against your own self-interest because you're voting on one single issue. Bad way to do it.
Everybody was they all agreed. We're universally on board with this idea that Trump is evil. We got to get rid of him, and women are going to vote, and this is going to be fun. But who are you hanging out with, lady? Yeah. You know, you could hang out with a bunch of people that think baseball's awesome, and then you run into someone from another country like, what the fuck is baseball? Like, you got to realize there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah, and people really don't like being talked down to.
They really don't, and they don't like you mocking the fact that, first of all, nobody wasted their vote. Like, that's not how it goes. Like, you don't.
They're very condescending. Democrats, the media, they come off as very condescending. Like Don Lemon, when he went out to that boardwalk in Atlantic City, and he says to the guy says, well, I'm paying more for everything. The economy's not good. Don Lemon's like, no, you're just that's not how you're just feeling that way. It's really not. Don Lemon, and he's telling the guy how he's supposed to feel, and it's just so amazing that you have Don Lemon out telling this man who's saying, I'm paying more. I'm telling you, my wallet's telling me the economy's no good. He's like, no, you're just that's just wrong. It is good. You're misreading everything, and it's just amazing.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious. That's what the facts show.
Okay, you know what?
No.
And they were doing that all the time. Kamala Harris would say it all the time. Joe Biden would say it all the time. No, you guys, everything's fine. It's just fine. Unbelievable. Talk about just the disconnect.
Waste your vote if you vote different and the other side wins. That's not how the other side won. That's all it is. Like, wasting the vote is a crazy way to look at it. Like, because I think also people look at things like tribal games. In Texas is a huge football state, and people love football, and it's always we this, we that. When UT plays South Carolina, we this, we that. It's like people love to be a part of a team that's winning. Right. And they apply that, especially if they're not into sports, to other things. I think it's just a war mentality. It's a tribal war mentality that's been sort of subverted in the human mind and applied to other things. It could be like Microsoft versus Apple. It could be Android versus Apple, iOS. It's weird how people get so tribal and then connect their own personal identity to other people agreeing with these ideas that they believe. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, interesting conversation there. Quick, but, you get a lot out of that. There's a lot there. And to hear, Marc Andreessen, he's very simple. He was a guy, as I said, that's a Democrat. But you know what? He says these policies that the Democrats are running suck, and they're going against my best interests. I am an investor. I want to make money. I want people to make money. I want crypto to take off. And that's it. Policies aren't lining up here. Social issues, yeah, there are some important social issues, but they're not the be-all, end-all. And really, what social issues, when you really get down to it, who's oppressed in this country? Nobody. We don't have any people oppressed in this country. Pretty much the normal people, which I always say, want everybody to do well. everybody has an opportunity, if they apply themselves to the best of their ability, to do well. Of course, there are certain people that can't, and those people need help. There are certain people that don't have the mental capacity. They were born with something wrong with them. We understand that. They have a physical problem. They need help. We're the most charitable, most caring country in the world. We will help those people. But most people, if you apply yourself, work hard, stay on it, even when things go wrong, fight through some adversity, you have the chance to do well. And most likely, you will have a nice life in the United States of America. So just thought that was a great conversation between those two. Two guys that were on the left, really. Joe Rogan, maybe call him left of center, but he was Democrat. He was not a Republican. Donald Trump has formed a coalition that if they do half of what they said they're going to do, he has formed a coalition that looks to be unstoppable right now. Things can change. Politics changes quickly. A political lifetime is quick. You're talking between now and January 20th is a political lifetime. So a lot of things are going to happen between now and January 20th. But he has the chance to solidify a coalition that can last a long, long time, for generations. We'll see what happens. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Appreciate you watching. Follow me on X at Opinions Vary, TikTok at Opinions Vary. Like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time right here at Opinions Vary.
Opinions vary.